Peter Salovey's The Psychology of Jealousy and Envy is a landmark edited volume that dissects the often intertwined emotional experiences of jealousy and envy through the lenses of cognitive psychology, social psychology, and clinical theory. This work doesn't treat jealousy and envy as taboo pathologies but instead as integral, socially embedded emotions with evolutionary and interpersonal functions. It's a dense, scholarly book, yet its insights have lasting relevance for anyone interested in the roots of emotional life. The volume opens with a conceptual distinction between envy and jealousy, drawing a line between the dyadic rivalry of envy, when one person covets another's advantage, and the triangular tension of jealousy, where a valued relationship feels threatened by a third party. Salovey and his co-contributors argue that although these emotions are frequently conflated in everyday speech, their psychological triggers and outcomes are quite different. This foundational clarity sets the stage for deeper explorations throughout the book. The early chapters explore the emotional architecture of jealousy and envy, proposing that these emotions are not irrational outbursts but rather evolved responses to social threats. Jealousy can preserve relational bonds by motivating protective behavior, while envy can act as a motivator for self-improvement. However, when unchecked, both can spiral into obsession, aggression, or depression. The emotional realism of these descriptions brings a richness to the book's psychological portraits. From here, the focus shifts to jealousy in romantic and close relationships. One chapter in particular draws from empirical research on attachment theory, showing how insecure attachment styles correlate with more intense and frequent experiences of jealousy. People with anxious attachment often perceive threats where there are none, amplifying jealousy even in stable relationships. This connection between early relational patterns and adult emotional behavior is a recurring theme. Another significant discussion revolves around the cognitive appraisal theories of emotion, in which jealousy and envy are framed as reactions to perceived social comparisons. When people believe that another person's advantage is undeserved, or that they cannot possibly attain the same, envy is more likely to become malicious. In contrast, if the advantage is seen as attainable, envy may become benign and motivating. The interpretation of a situation thus strongly shapes the emotional response. The book takes a turn toward social psychology by examining the influence of cultural and societal norms. In collectivist cultures, where group harmony is paramount, open expressions of envy or jealousy are often discouraged. In contrast, individualist cultures may romanticize jealousy as a sign of passion or deep emotional investment. These cultural lenses not only shape how these emotions are expressed but also how they are interpreted by others. Case studies and research findings are interwoven throughout, grounding abstract theories in real-world contexts. For example, jealousy isn't limited to romantic settings, it also appears in workplaces, sibling dynamics, and friendships. The book includes detailed discussions of social comparison theory, emphasizing how perceived fairness or injustice in status, reward, or recognition can fuel envy among peers or colleagues. One powerful section discusses the long-term effects of chronic envy on personal well-being. People who are frequently envious often struggle with low self-esteem, feelings of inferiority, and persistent dissatisfaction. This chronic state of comparison creates a psychological loop that can lead to resentment and even sabotage. Here, Salovey invites readers to consider how social structures and economic systems might exacerbate these internal emotional battles. In contrast, jealousy tends to produce more immediate behavioral responses. Monitoring, questioning, withdrawing affection, or confrontation. The book offers data from observational studies of couples, showing how jealousy can become a pattern of controlling behavior or emotional manipulation, especially when communication is poor. These findings are supported by detailed discussions of gender differences in the expression of jealousy and envy. Another key insight is how both emotions are tied to identity. When someone threatens a valued identity, such as being a good partner, competent worker, or beloved friend, the resulting jealousy or envy can be intense. This relationship between identity threat and emotional response adds depth to the clinical applications of the book, encouraging therapists to dig beneath surface behaviors. Therapeutic strategies are not the primary focus, but some contributors provide guidelines for addressing jealousy and envy in therapy. These include promoting self-awareness, encouraging reappraisal of threatening situations, and building secure attachment through communication. One chapter even explores envy as a barrier to therapeutic alliance, where patients envy their therapist's perceived emotional stability or wisdom. The book also takes an evolutionary perspective, suggesting that jealousy and envy evolved to help humans navigate social hierarchies and reproductive competition. While these emotions can cause pain, they may also have helped ancestors retain mates or strive for better social standing. This evolutionary view reframes them not as flaws, but as tools that must be understood and managed. A standout feature of the book is its interdisciplinary nature. Contributors include psychologists, anthropologists, and sociologists, creating a multidimensional picture of how jealousy and envy operate. This blending of empirical and theoretical work gives the book intellectual weight without sacrificing accessibility. In its final chapters, the psychology of jealousy and envy leaves readers with a deeper understanding of these powerful emotions. Rather than advocating for their suppression, Salovey and his colleagues promote awareness, integration, and regulation. They argue that when jealousy and envy are understood, rather than denied, they can serve as guides for personal growth and improved relationships. Ultimately, the book serves as both a mirror and a map. It reflects how common and complex jealousy and envy are in everyday life, while also charting pathways to greater emotional clarity. Whether you're a clinician, researcher, or simply a curious reader, Salovey's volume is a vital guide to navigating the thornier aspects of human emotion.